Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hi.
Welcome back. We hope that you enjoyed last week's episode with the Emperor and the Empress finally coming together.
A lot of really great insights came through last week.
Yeah, yeah. And this week we are doing the Hierophant and the Lovers. It's going to
Yeah.
be interesting. We don't know what's going to come through.
Yeah,
So,
just so everyone who's listening understands, we're very much showing up in real time to talk about these different archetypes. And the truth is this wisdom is continuously unfolding for us. And so the things that come out today may be a new revelation or an old one that we have been able to reflect on. And I think what I'm so excited about in talking about the Hierophant and the Lovers is just the depth and symbolism in both of these cards. They're very rich.
yeah. I was trying to like prepare for it and just asking the question, who is the Hierophant, who is the lovers, and like looking at the cards. And, I was just like, have you ever studied something that at the end you're like, I still have no idea? Like that's how I felt. And so I was like, you know what?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And And here's the thing, because it's funny because we were talking a little bit before, and I have a lot of that kind of in my life right now where
Yeah.
there's a lot of depth here, but there's still kind of this question mark. And I
Yes.
do feel like both of these cards have a little bit of that essence for me. Like I feel the energy, there's parts that I really get, and then there's still like this question mark of like, how is this card really showing up for me? How is this
Yes.
archetype showing up for me? And as we've shared before, there's just layers and layers. And depending on where you're at in your life or what kind of area in your life that you're exploring,
Yeah.
um, these different archetypes show up and will reveal different things. So I'm excited to see
Totally.
what wants to come through today.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get ready to dive in. So again, have your cards in front of you, the Hierophant and the Lover's card in front of you, and just take a deep breath in and just kind of take them in. And we're gonna move into a meditation to just activate them within us, activate the wisdom within us, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so close your eyes, take a deep breath into your body, into your heart. And if it feels good to you, you can even place your hands on the cards if it feels good to you. If not, place your hands on your body, one on your heart, one on your womb. Ooh, the heart represents the lovers, the womb represents the Hierophant. And just breathe into the entirety of your body, the wholeness of your body. With each breath, just breathe in the wisdom that is already yours, the wise woman, the wise man that you are. Just breathe in that truth, the wisdom, the love, and just let go of anything else. I want you to gift yourself with the gift of presence. Call your energy to this present moment to be fully here as you receive this wisdom. And just trust that everything else will be there afterwards. Breathing into your body, allowing your heart to expand, receiving the light, the truth, the wisdom, and exhale, releasing any of the worries, any of the to-do list, any of the heaviness, the achiness. Breathing again, breathing in light into your body, filling in every part of your being with the light. And exhale, releasing the stress, the achiness, the worry, releasing it all. And that and now imagine, see, sense, or feel that you are walking towards a grand temple. So you appear in this space and this temple in front of you. Its doors are open wide. and you're invited to step inside. And once you do, you notice the air is thick with incense, there's candles lit, and whispers of prayers carry through the centuries, just weaving through the space. It feels sacred. It feels holy. Before you, you notice the Hierophant appears, a sacred teacher, cloaked, cloaked in red and white, a triple crown upon his head, and at his feet rest two golden keys, crossed, glimmering with ancient truth. And also we have the two students, or the acolytes, who are kneeling nearby him. And they're just there to remind you that wisdom is passed on from teacher to student, from the heart to another heart. And the Hierophant gazes at you and places his hand upon your brow. A voice resounds within you. Remember what is holy. Remember what is holy. You are both the student and the teacher. And you belong to the lineage of light. Take a deep breath in here. Remember what is holy. Remember you are holy. You are both the student and the teacher, and you belong to the lineage of light. Go ahead and breathe in this wisdom that the Hierophant has bestowed on you. With these words, the Hierophant is now activated within you. Take a deep breath in and out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now the scene shifts. You now stand in a radiant garden, bathed in sunlight. There's roses everywhere, and sunflowers, and big beautiful trees, and a river. Oh, it's delightful. And before you appears the lovers, a man and a woman, two souls illuminated by the Archangel Raphael. And this Archangel is like above them, like just kind of hovering above them with the wings out. And you notice between them arises a mountain. And this mountain is just a symbol of choice and destiny. So in this moment, the lovers smile at you. And as they do, the angels begin to speak to you. Choose and love, not fear, and align with what brings harmony to your soul. Every choice is a union with your truth. Take a deep breath in and out. Choose and love, not fear. Align with what brings harmony to your soul. Every choice is a union with truth. Breathe in the wisdom of both the Hierophant and the lovers. And with your exhalation, allow your wisdom to anchor, lock, and seal within every level of your being, activating the codons within you. Take a deep breath in and out. Both energies now live within you. And just allow the wisdom to continue to weave within you, awaken within you, within your mind, within your heart, within your body, within your spirit. The truth that is connected to you, anchored, rooted. Beautiful. Now take a deep breath in. With this energy still alive within you, open your eyes, being present, being here and now. Welcome back.
Beautiful. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
That was gorgeous.
Of course, of course. All right, so let's start with the Hierophant.
Mm. Yeah, we were talking a little bit about the Hierophant before we started um, today. And I think like if you're listening, just take a look at the card. There's so much imagery in it. And of course, we always want to encourage you to connect to the pieces that are meant to be connected to you.
Yeah,
Um, Abigail and I were talking just a little bit before this, and we kind of have different experiences with the Hierophant, or kind of how it shows up, or how we feel the Hierophant in our lives. And so definitely just look at the card and connect with the colors and the symbolism. And is there something that specifically calls to you? And just spend some time kind of letting that energy kind of reveal itself.
yeah. Um, Before we talk, I want you to take some time, grab your journal, and write down what stands out, what stands out to you when you look at the card. Earlier when we were talking, I told Nicolette that for the first time, I noticed the correlation between the Hierophant card and the High Priestess. They have some similarities there. The towers really stand out and how they're sitting between the towers. And we know the High Priestess is a very spiritual card. It's like the spiritual part of the divine feminine. It's like that pure essence of the divine feminine. So if I were to think of it that way, then and bring that into the wisdom of the Hierophant, I know that there's a huge spiritual piece to also the Hierophant that comes in.
And it kind of feels like this the counter to the high priestess in the masculine connection.
Yes.
And I also think it's interesting that it's on the bookends of the emperor, empress, and the emperor. So it's the high priestess, and then there in the middle is the emperor, empress, and the emperor, and then on the other end is the hierophant. It's kind of like here's
Huh.
the spirit kind of uh holding the vibrancy of kind of the inner. I don't know. It's interesting.
Like a container, this
Yeah,
beautiful
like
container holding that sacredness.
spirit, very connected, like reminding us of how connected we are to spirit. And then
Yeah.
inside of that is the vibrancy and, all of the energy that comes through with the Empress and Emperor, which we talked about last week. So,
Yeah. One of the things when I think about the Hierophant and even thinking about some of the ways that it's shown up for me, like immediately I go into like spiritual teacher. Okay, so the key word is teacher. I just go with spiritual teacher because for me, that spiritual piece gets amplified and it makes sense. That's a huge part of me. And a huge part of even my journey about anchoring that spiritual piece, you know. And so it always is like spiritual teacher. One of the main things that the Hierophant usually awakens within us is our inner teacher. Our inner, that's like the first thing. I want you to, if there's anything I want you to take, I want you to remember this. Who are you as a teacher? Like when we say teacher, what does that mean? Does it mean that you are a master or something? Does it mean, like, think about who are you as a teacher and what do you teach? Now, I don't want you to make it complicated. It might be simple as, something that maybe you love to cook a certain type of food and that's something that you share with someone. That's what you're teaching. And I share that example because the teaching is coming from love. It's not coming from I know this and I have to push it in you. Kind of like the beliefs, rigid kind of thing, where it's like, this is it, this is the only way, you have to follow it. This kind of teacher is coming from a place of, I love doing this and I'm sharing this because you want to know about it. And then it ends up being a teaching experience. You don't plan for it, it just simply is. And I've noticed this within myself and also within the teachers who I draw to me. Most of the time, they don't even consider themselves to be teachers because they don't think they're. like the expertise matches what that term means, but they can teach me so much. Like Nicolette is one of them. And she would probably be like, oh my gosh, like she would never call herself that. And yet she holds so much wisdom that she impacts on me every single time we meet. Something like it might be a little nugget, but every time we meet, I leave with a new perspective. And that's the gift of the teacher. It's just sharing what feels good, what flows through. It's natural.
Yeah, it's kind of just like showing up as in your full essence
Yeah.
and kind of like leading by example.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
have you ever been around someone who just loves something so much that you get excited about it, even
Yes.
though it's not something you really have any interest in, but it kind of pulls you in because you're like, oh, you just want to feel that excitement and
Yeah.
understand what it is. And so it's really just like being able to, I think the other thing is recognizing that we all have these gifts
Yes.
we don't that we minimize a lot of times or we don't appreciate, we don't really see as gifts because they come so natural to us.
Yes.
And when you can show up and be that, people will learn from you just because you are embodying it. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think kind of like when you were saying like, I see Nicolette as a teacher and I'm like, that's crazy to me because you are my mentor and I've learned so much from you, but we do have this great
We do.
connection and we really go deep together. So it's not that I'm completely dismissing it. I totally appreciate you saying that, by the way. But it's also one of those things that it's like I'm just my full self with it when I'm with you. What do you
Exactly.
mean I'm a teacher? Like I just show up as me and you're like, exactly, that is the Hierophant.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just allowing that truth to come out through you, whatever that means.
Yeah, and
No.
just so I think the Hierophant, like one of the things that is coming through right now is the Hierophant really wants us to all appreciate those divine gifts. And
Yeah.
if you haven't taken time to kind of think like, because I remember there was a time where I didn't really see my gifts. And so, if you haven't taken time to just appreciate the times when you feel like you're really in your element, or
Yeah.
appreciate the things when people just say, "Oh my gosh, I love this about you," because sometimes they're just like, "Oh, we kind of want to brush it off," but pay attention,
Yeah.
because those, are little messages to give you a hint on where these little gifts, these little hidden treasured gifts of who you are that are so integrated in you that you probably don't even recognize how special it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm having this glimpses of an encounter I had a long time ago, and I probably have had more after that. But it was a woman who she makes her own clothes. And every time I saw her, it wasn't just what she was wearing. It was also like the way she felt when she walked in it. And I'll just be like, you look good today. And be like, what? This? Oh, I just put this together. And I'll be like, that doesn't look like you just put it together. And then the
Right?
more I ask,
Yes.
the
Yes.
more I ask about it, she's like, really? You really want to know? Like, this is just, I just make my own clothes. I love doing it. And it was almost like I can see the face. Like, it was almost like a surprise. Like, you
Yes.
really want to know that, like, this is exciting? Like, I'm like,
Yes.
yes, I can do that. I don't know. I
Yes.
would love to do that, but I don't know how to do it. And you do it so beautifully. So yes, I want to be in your world. I want to
Yes.
know
So
the process.
if
Yeah.
there are things that you just totally underestimate about yourself, that's probably the thing there's like a little gift in there. Because it comes so natural that you would assume everyone could do it that easily. And
Yes.
that's just never the case. So I think that's coming in really clear with the Hierophant is like connecting with your spiritual gifts, which to me, your spiritual gift is just the essence of who you are
Yes.
in these different ways and paying account to it because it's not something that a lot of us are encouraged to recognize. But kind of one thing to think about is like I know this sounds a little maybe dark, but think of what people will say when you pass. What are people
Mm,
gonna remember about you? And then lean in and you maybe don't even have to lean in because it's a part of you, but
yeah,
recognize it and appreciate this connection you have to the divine in this way and how the divine wants to speak to you because
yeah.
when you're fully embodying it and just living that purpose, that's usually when we get the most like deeper spiritual connected, kind of messages and understanding. So
I wanted to point out if you guys notice, like we're talking about spiritual, but then we're also mentioning a lot of embodiment. That
mhm.
is what it's about the unseen being anchored in the scene or expressed into the material. There has to be that manifestation. There has to be, like you live in, like you're someone who's an artist, they get the idea, they bring it through, and then they put it on the paper. It has to be that expression. Otherwise, our spiritual gifts and all, they just hovering, they just sitting there, right? So we have to be able to let it come on. I think this is part of the teachings of the
Yeah.
Hierophant.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times when we don't have that openness is when we feel really disconnected from ourselves or
Yeah.
really or from our own purpose, our own essence. And
Yeah.
there's such a gift in being able to fully receive it and then embody it and act in it.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's funny that this is a conversation that wants to come through with the Hierophant.
Right?
Yes. And this is and this is so I want to shift it just a little bit because we were talking a little bit about the Hierophant and like a lot of the things I've read is a lot about the institution.
Yeah.
Kind of think of like the hierarchy, the religious hierarchy. But I think the biggest even though that's a lot of the literature around it, of course, we always want you to connect to it in the way that it feels most connect to you and let it show up. I mean, I have a few examples, and I know Abigail does too, about just interesting, like different ways that the Hierophant has shown up. But I think the Hierophant can represent kind of like the structure of how you are experiencing your spirituality, or at least creating space and time to honor it. And in some instances, this might mean going to some kind of church or place of worship. But otherwise, it might mean just having a spiritual practice in the morning that you're honoring every
Yes.
day. So, really putting some like really intentional presence to your spiritual practice. I think that's
Yeah.
something that the Hierophant wants to encourage us to do, because it's also it's like what we were saying. First of all, you have to be connected to spirit.
Yes.
Then you have to be able to receive the message, and then you have to be able to act on it. But if you aren't creating that sacred space to connect, in a really intentional way, you might end up feeling more and more disconnected from your truer purpose and who you are here to be, the magnificence of all of
Yeah. There's something that you said. I was trying to, oh, you said it so beautifully. But I wanted to mention also, you mentioned taking the time to honor our gifts. The Hierophant really brings in that energy. I think you spoke about the institution. I
yeah,
think the literature is because the Hierophant brings in structure. It is bringing in that
yeah,
masculine energy, which is structure.
yeah,
And so I
yes,
think the way, for example, if we're thinking about religious institution, is bringing in that spirituality and creating a structure around it,
yes,
and then
yeah.
creating laws and rules.
And the
That's,
support and
yeah,
the mentors and mentorship
yes,
and the community around it. So there is like it is asking us to have a designated space for our spiritual connection.
yeah. The Hierophant, the other
Where the high
aspect.
priestess, the feminine energy, almost the Hierophant's counterpart, now that we're kind of seeing this, is a lot more fluid. It's a lot more
Yes,
embodied. It's a lot more catching the magic in your day or just being open to receiving guidance. And like, so it's a lot more fluid where the Hierophant, I think, wants structure, it wants intentionality, it wants presence. Of course, the high priestess wants presence too.
also
They
does,
all want
yeah.
presence.
The only
Uh,
difference is the
yeah,
structure piece, yeah, because that's the part of the divine masculine or the masculine essence,
Yeah.
right? Bringing through, giving form to the intangible, giving form to spirit.
Yes.
That's, yeah,
And
yeah,
so really carving out space in your week or your day or whatever it is for you, to intentionally connect with spirit in the way that feels most nurturing for you.
yeah. If you're drawn to rituals, whether, a ritual is just something that we do to connect to spirit that we do repetitively. So lighting a candle, doing a prayer, like doing if you do rosaries, like that's all a ritual, but that's part of the Hierophant. Like anything that you do that allows you to connect to your true essence, that is part of
Especially
the
around
Hierophant.
ceremony and
Yeah,
intentionally, yeah,
yeah,
there's definitely some connection there. I think we'll move on to the lovers here in a minute, but I do want to say it's funny because um I think, let's see, was it last year? Last year I was becoming the Hierophant in my compass. That was
yeah,
the card. Oh wait, was it last? Yeah. And the Hierophant, I just have to add this little caveat because next month my door is a Hierophant and Abigail was asking me and I just got this like straight face and she's like, "What? What on earth?" And I'm like, "The Hierophant does not mess around when it comes to me." It honestly, if I'm out of alignment, I think with, yeah, like my most, I don't know, purest spiritual essence or something, or just kind of like fragmented, or the Hierophant really will come in, and I think it's that structural, like that masculine
yeah,
structural, and will push change sometimes, which can be really uncomfortable because if we're not looking at what we need to do, then sometimes life will give us an opportunity, and
yeah,
a lot of times that feels a little harsher than if we are like intentionally like, oh, catching it,
yeah,
right? And so there's been a few times in my life where the Hierophant has shown up with such a kind of almost insistent energy that it kind of snaps me back. But the
yeah,
really beautiful thing about the Hierophant is it is also always covered in grace. Um,
yes,
and I'll share this one example. A couple years ago, I I had the Hierophant as my card, my goal that month. And I had gone out of town with some girlfriends, and it was kind of a wild weekend. We were all in a little bit of rare form, if I'm being honest with you. And it was a rough night, and I had cried that morning. I was just crying and crying, and it was during my crying season. I spent like a year crying.
yes,
And I was crying and I was talking to my friend, and it was just this moment where I just felt really defeated. And so we were trying to shift the energy and we're like, let's go. We were in this beautiful mountain town, Telluride, Colorado, and we're like, let's go out to the creek. So I was like, okay, I'm ready to shift this energy. So I went out to the creek and I was walking in the creek, and my friend thought I looked pretty and she took out her phone, and there was just this light shining down on me that she could see with the phone. And I always feel like the Hierophant kind of was pushing me to like look at things, but also that light was just proof that there was grace. And
yeah,
I felt like, God was giving me grace in this moment when I didn't have any to give myself.
yeah. The Hierophant has such a beautiful way to remind us that we're always connected to something greater than us.
Yes. And we're so supported.
Yes,
And that doesn't always mean that it's easy or that we don't have to look at hard parts. A lot of times that is part of being supported.
exactly.
And think of like a parent. You have to guide your child. Sometimes it can feel, um, but it is so like there is so much grace, like, and love.
Yeah. I'm like, because I have the Hierophant for my door no, not next month, November, and then December is the lovers.
Well,
Or
then
maybe
next
it's like
month
flipped.
too.
But I
Next,
have those two cards. So
that's
I'm
interesting.
curious,
I
especially in the
I'm
year of the
pretty sure I have
Empress.
the Hierophant in my
Yeah.
my year.
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
very curious to how that's gonna open up. But yeah, I love the Hierophant every time that it showed up for me. And one of the ways, one of the times that it showed up for me, and it showed up plenty of time, I met one of my most like my spiritual teacher, one of like the what or like the important like a pivot in my life, like that kind of teacher. Another point was when I identify within myself that I could do the work that I'm doing now, and that was through others reflecting to me, and to the point where I was asked to teach, teach like again going back to oh this everybody knows this, like being asked to
Yes,
teach my
yes, that's it.
classmates how to protect themselves so that they're not, their energy is not drained after clinics,
Yeah.
or teaching them how to connect with your guides. And I'm like, everybody knows this. Why should I teach?
And you're no, not every
Yeah, yeah. And it
yeah.
was really cool to have that shown to me and also activate, like bring that out of me because I enjoy doing it, but I never thought it was needed or something that would be needed. Like people do it, like it's like,
It's like, I think this conversation is asking anyone who's listening to say, where are you leading in your life? Like, where are you being called
yes,
to lead? And maybe it's, teacher feels a little too formal, but leading
yeah,
just by example, by being you, by being interested or curious about certain things, or by being someone who can communicate something so beautifully, or by being someone who can there's just so many different ways that this can show up. So really spend some time reflecting on what is this, where are you being called to lead? And are you truly connected with that part of you? Because I think in those places where we naturally find ourselves leading, that feels so connected to our purpose. And that
yes.
really helps us feel like so much more fulfilled and connected in some different ways. So I love that. And I think just to kind of like circle around with the mentor mentee kind of dynamic is like last year I was becoming the Hierophant. And, I'm a mystic. I'm going to own that. And so I really like receive wisdom through experience, and then I can share what it is, my own life experience, and then I have a gift of communicating that so it connects other people to being able to see those same kind of patterns and things that have happened to them in their life. And last year it was the year of the Hierophant, and I think I was like, what is this? And it just gave me such a big look at like really looking into these different dynamics as far as like our shadows and where we get caught and the loops we get in, and the energy that we're moving into. And there was so much that came through. And it's not surprising that, yeah, like, now looking back, it's not surprising that the Hierophant was guiding me through that, because first of all, the Hierophant's like, yes, you have to experience this whole spectrum, which to be honest was really a difficult year for me. But I'm going to hold you in grace and love as you move through it. And then now I get to come and talk and share about the things I learned. And um, so that's how the Hierophant has really shown up for me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. If you're like, if you're having a hard time even connecting to, in what ways do you show up as the teacher or even lead? Just simply ask the Hierophant to come in and show you. Show me how how you show up within my life, how you show up within me.
Am
And
I
it
meant to be?
will.
Connect me to my purpose. What am I here to show the world? What
Yeah.
am I here to teach? You can even just ask that.
Yeah,
So play with it and be open to it and be a observer of your own life, and you will see.
exactly. Exactly. All right. Should we switch to
Hey,
the
over to
lovers?
the lovers. That was a big
Over
one.
to the lovers.
Yes, that was a big conversation. Thank you.
The lovers are a fascinating card. Like this is one of the cards that when people look at automatically they think about outside of
Romantic
themselves.
relationships.
Yes, immediately. And that card has nothing to do with that. And everything to do with you. Even the two, like the
The masculine. The woman and the man.
Yep, that's your inner masculine and inner feminine showing up there. It's showing you your wholeness. And it's very I
Yeah.
love this card because once you understand this card, when we meet the devil card, you will see the two that's another, like the Hierophant we're talking about, how it matches the High Priestess, the Lovers matches the devil card. It's so interesting.
Hmm.
It's very
I've
fascinating.
never made that connection.
Right? So we have these two, the feminine, the masculine. We have this beautiful archangel above them, and and it's Archangel Raphael, the archangel of healing. So immediately, like I am very connected to Archangel Raphael. That's like my angelic lineage, and we all have an angelic lineage, by the way. Um, and just thinking about that being in the card, it could have been any of the other archangels, but it had to be the archangel of healing and the mind. It's like
Mm.
interesting. Archangel Raphael is also connected to the East, inspiration, again, the mind, like the intellect, and then you have healing frequency. So you have these codes in there too. So it's telling me, like, how do we take that and then look at the feminine and the masculine aspect of ourselves, especially after visiting the Empress and the Emperor, which really took them separately so that we can look at that. Yeah, and this one brings them together.
There's so much
Yeah.
imagery on the card. I mean, honestly. And it is interesting because there's like the snake around the tree behind
Yes. The tree of life. That's actually the tree of life.
Tree of Life. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, if you're listening to this and you're curious, just take a little bit of time to kind of look at this card and make connect because these, the angel may, even though it's Archangel Raphael, right?
Yes.
You may feel like that's God to you, or there's another connection, or
Yes.
definitely look at the different parts and kind of connect it to how it's going to be most digestible to you because we don't want to like create, that everyone has different kind of beliefs and understanding. So make it fit for you in connecting it to the ways of your life but or your beliefs or your kind of energy. um I love the wholeness of this, and I
Yeah.
do think, like, even as I've pulled there, like, if I'm like, "Oh, what's this mean for me?" Like, in a romantic one thing I wanna talk about that's coming through is the different kinds of love, because there is so many different kinds of love.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of we put a lot of focus on romantic love and that kind of partnership. But there is like love of friendships and the kind of love that is like un how do I want to say this? Like there's sometimes you have the biggest love with people who have like the least like there's not entanglement.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And you can love
Mm-hmm.
without the like that what you do affects my life kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, there's love for our children, which is like the ultimate, really, unconditional, usually. Love for our parents, which is a very similar but also different.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's love for life and just taking the moment to be like, wow, this is such a gorgeous flower, and I'm sitting here and the sun's hitting me just right. And that you can have love for that moment.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that the lovers card represents for me is like, where can I just be present and love the life that is here for me right now? Love all the parts of it, the hard parts, the beautiful parts. Just have this love and reverence for life and who I am and how life is showing up for me.
Yeah. I was thinking, or one of the things that came through is the love that we experience on the outside is a reflection or a manifestation of the love that is within us.
Yeah.
So, and this is why, like
That
once
can be
upon a time,
confronting. That can be confronting.
yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is a big part of this card is pulling you in, is telling you, is showing you and telling you the truth that this wholeness is already within you. Usually, like when we look within us or when we look outside of us and like, why did I attract this kind of situation? Why did I? And then you're like, wait, well, if that's the case, then what's within me? It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you hold that bad thing. It just means that you've forgotten something. Like
Hmm.
I want that to be very clear.
Yeah.
If you attract let's say a narcissist, you're like, wait, does that mean I'm a narcissist? No, it means that you've forgotten your worth.
Yes.
You see the process here. So
Yeah.
next time you hear something like that, don't think of, oh, like it's a direct like
Yeah, we're
what I
not
see
saying
is,
that you're
yeah.
bad or
No,
that this is like showing up for you because you have this piece in you. It's not that kind of what happens is the life will show us things to remind us of ourselves, and that is a big
exactly.
part. So it's like if you're in a challenging dynamic, the invitation here is to look inside
Yeah.
because that's the only thing you really have control over.
That's all we
So
have control over. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like,
so if
what do you
you're
need
in a
to,
scenario, it's like, and you're not happy with how this relationship or this entanglement, whatever it
yeah,
is showing up for you, then it's this invitation to say, huh, okay, get curious about like maybe is there somewhere where I need to strengthen my boundaries?
yeah,
Or is there somewhere that, like you said, that I need to dig into really connecting back to my own self-worth and what is it
yeah,
that I'm accepting? Is it that I need to work on my communicate? Like there's always an opportunity just to reflect inside of you. And I know for me, like the gifts that will come through when you take the time to do it, there's it makes everything have purpose.
yeah. No, I think I've mentioned this before, where one of the greatest wisdom that my teacher impacted on us was that our greatest work will be when we are in relation with others,
Yes.
because that's when we get to see what we cannot see. When you're
Yeah.
doing your own work and your growth work, you see what you see. It's like there's only so
Yeah.
much you can see, but the moment someone steps in and they start reflecting, you're like, oh, I didn't see that part over there. What is that? And then you can
Yeah.
go in there and do your thing, and then they reflect another part. You're like, oh, I forgot about that, right? So I feel like the lover's card, like it is bringing us within, but when we can't see it, then it reflects out so that you have that mirror in front of you. And then you can really catch, oh, okay, I forgot about this. Oh, right, this is where I need to get to the healing, or this is where I need to let go of this because it doesn't serve me anymore. It's
Yeah.
fascinating.
I
Yeah.
love I think relationships, different relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, work dynamics, mother like parent child are the biggest containers for our own personal growth.
Yes.
Because it's opportunities to see in real time
Yeah.
where we're shining, where we are showing up, where we are falling short, where we need to reconfigure our energy, where we need to lay some boundaries or communicate what we need. Like there's
Yeah.
so much. And so the lover's card, even though it is about our own inner love for ourselves, it's also about the connections and how it is showing up for us outside of ourselves, which like
Yeah.
you Abigail is just like a mirror or a tool for our teaching so we get to see. And so I think it's really important because I think sometimes people feel like it's easy to feel like a victim or
Yeah.
like or even just kind of like beat up by the world if you've attracted some difficult partnerships or relationships. This can even show up in different kind of work dynamics when you kind of keep experiencing the same kind of thing with a different face. Um,
Yeah.
A lot of times it's I think always, especially if it keeps happening, is where what's look inside because that is where
Absolutely.
you're gonna find the answer. It's not changing someone else or, but going back to the victim kind of mentality of being like, for one thing, there's a difference between being hurt, or feeling, like all the feelings of like that can come when you feel like you've been mistreated from someone. That is absolutely necessary. We have to move through
Yeah.
that. And I don't want to like say victim and people think that that's what I'm saying. It's
No.
not. I You have to sit with grief, you have to move through it, you have to do all that thing. But then you get to see this as a gift,
Yeah.
because it is a gift to see inside of yourself where you're maybe cutting yourself short, or where you are like, there's who knows what the gift is, but there is a
Yeah.
gift. And when we spend time sitting with it, which can be a really uncomfortable time, and a lot of people don't want to, they just want to escape, and that's why they'll continue to end up in the
Yep.
same dynamic over and over,
Same loop. Yeah.
different face, same thing. Uh,
Yep.
but when you can sit with it and really look at it, and being willing to feel uncomfortable, because sometimes it is about like, oh gosh, like I'm showing up like this here, and that's not in alignment with who I really am, so sometimes there's some harder reflections of our own, that we need to make, and just being really honest. And so if you've experienced something where you've dealt with someone really like a narcissist, or someone who's just been really brutal, um I'm sorry that you experienced that. And this is your invitation to say, what was the gift? Because I promise you there was a gift in it.
There was. Yep. Yeah.
And you'll move through it. And then you'll get to a different place, and then at some point you're gonna start attracting a different kind of energy. So, and then you
Seriously.
get to live
Yeah.
through it. So I think the lover, it's so vast in a way, because it's like everything inside of us all the way to what's outside of us.
Yeah. It's the wholeness and the union of it all within us. It's like everything, it really takes us back to that saying, like everything you need is already within you.
Yeah,
In
and
this card.
what is what is the you've mentioned it a few times in previous episodes. Uh the It's kind of like the tagline for tarot is, do you know what I'm
It's
saying?
about you.
Yeah, like look within or something like that. I can't
Something
remember.
like, but it is, yeah,
Yeah.
it's all it's
Yeah.
you. The
Yes.
tarot is you.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
you. And I think the lovers is just such a like beautiful like reminder of what's in within is without, or is
Exactly.
comes out. And
Yeah.
so the relationships, the different kinds of things, um, and looking at love in all the different forms. You might feel
Yeah.
really lonely in friendship right now, or you feel really blessed in friendship. There's all kinds of different places that we can kind of reflect and say, huh, like I wonder if I'm feeling lonely in friendship, is there something I can maybe shift to receive more alignment in that way?
Yeah. I love that you said alignment. The Lover's card is like, okay, so some of the themes is soul alignment, union, and there's also the choices. And you can even see because if you look at, the masculine and the feminine, they're like standing on different sides, and then you have the mountain in between them. And you can really see these choices amplify when we step into the devil card. Again, you see the same depictions, the same thing in the devil
There's
card.
a lot of similar
Yeah,
imagery.
but instead of the angel, you have the devil on top instead. And with the devil card, this is where like it's like the devil's advocate. Do you want this or this one? Choose. Which one do you want? Okay, you want this? Okay, let's move forward. Do you want this? You get a lot of that when you
The
step
bird,
there. So
yes,
yeah,
yes.
I think the lover's card is like the introduction. It's like, okay, can you find that can you step back into you and find that wholeness, that everything that you want to create or want to experience it needs to begin within you. And then as you master that and you begin to manifest it outward, then the choices, it's like, do you want this? Oh, that. Well, if you don't want that, then can we not keep experiencing that? What do you need to
Yeah,
do?
then keep
Yeah,
then you can't keep choosing this if you want something different.
exactly. You need to choose something else. So
You need
I
to make a
love that we get that
choice.
gift in there.
Yes. And
Yeah,
the lovers is about choice.
yeah,
And it makes sense because we have choice
yeah.
how we show up and who we surround ourselves with and what we stay chained to, which is a lot more of the devil.
That's
Um,
the devil aspect.
yeah.
Exactly.
But the lovers is kind of the chains have broken,
Yes. The freedom.
like the freedom of choosing you.
Yes.
Yes. And when we choose ourselves in our fullness, that doesn't mean we're disregarding others. Of course not. It means that our cup is so full that we are aligning with the kinds of people and relationships and dynamics that are going to be really nurturing to that. On the other hand, when we choose based on habit or old patterns
Oh, fears.
or fear or you know, just so many of the kind of avoid like whatever it is that you aren't wanting to look at when you're choosing based on fear, which is probably the biggest thing, right? All of those things are kind of rooted in the fear. When you're choosing based on that, you are going to be able to align with that really abundant lover's energy sometimes because
Yeah.
choosing. We are choosing always. We always are choosing.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I think that's one of my favorite things actually about tarot. All of it is a reminder of the choice that
Yeah.
we're consistently making on who we are showing up, who we surround ourselves with. And these archetypes are always like this guide of like really bringing depth into it because it's so easy to just skirt on the surface of life and
Yeah.
just like, well, I just attract this kind of person, or I just keep seeming to get into these kinds of roles where I end up getting taken advantage of in my job, or or whatever it is. Like there's always so many choice. That like life
Yeah.
is like just a series of choice. And when we can choose carefully and intentionally, and from a place of really like love and abundance and self-love, then our the world shifts around us.
Yeah. I was going to say, at any given point in your life, you can choose a different option. Like
Okay.
our choices are not stagnant, they're not meant to be. So, it's okay if you chose a path and you're like, I don't, why did I do this? Because at any moment, you can choose something else. You can choose to experience something else.
Yeah.
So whatever choice you've made this far, sometimes we're so hard on ourselves, like, why did I choose that? What was I thinking? Stop being hard on yourself and know that you chose that to have that experience, and now you have the wisdom from that. And at this point, you can choose something else. What else do you want to experience? What else do
And
you want to
sometimes
choose?
we don't know until we know. I
Yeah,
mean, sometimes you make a choice, you don't, you only have a bit of, you only get to see this much, like
yeah,
a small amount of what you're walking into. And then you step into it and you're like, oh, shoot, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And this isn't what I want to choose. I think the trick is having the courage to say, and there is a scarcity in it because when you
yeah,
a lot of times we stay in that because it's like, well, this is what it is, and if I lose this, will I even get something else?
yeah,
And there's the scarcity in it, and that's what keeps people kind of stuck in those dynamics, even though they're uncomfortable. But the the beauty when you start really choosing from courageous self-love, which is really what the lovers is asking you to do, is that you will see how much actual like influence we have over our existence and that we're really
absolutely.
supported.
Yeah,
A lot of times it asks us to kind of let go of a lot of the preconceived ideas about how things should be or
yeah,
what that support might look like or how things will flow. But we do always get to choose. And like sometimes the harder the choice, like if it's just like, oh, this is gonna gut me, this choice is like life altering. This isn't just a small thing. This is gonna
yeah,
uproot everything. when we can be courageous, when you know that's the truth, when you know that this certain dynamic that you're in, say you're in a marriage that you're just so miserable in, but you're like, but I'm married and this is, and we've tried everything, but this is the dynamic. I'm not like saying that isn't gonna just be like extremely uprooting and like how it's gonna really, I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is when you choose yourself, you will be surprised at how much love will flow in and how much alignment you can really find.
Yeah. It all comes back to you. I was thinking about how we were able to focus on the emperor, the divine masculine archetype, and really dissect that. And then we looked at the divine feminine archetype separately. In this card of the lovers, this is the first time that that union they come together. This is
Yeah,
the first time that we are shown that wholeness, both of them coming together to
inside.
create. Yeah,
Yeah,
inside. Yeah.
inside
It's
and out.
quite,
It's
yeah.
both
Well,
because
yeah, inside and then it begins to reflect on the outside.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Quite
And
beautiful.
it is really
Yeah.
gorgeous. So
Yeah.
I think the lovers is asking, it seems like what's really coming through today is the lovers is asking what where is your choice? Are you
Yes.
choosing wholeness? Are you choosing you? Are you blinding yourself because it's too hard to look at, making a different choice? Like just what are you choosing?
Yeah. Are you choosing love over fear? Are you choosing truth over illusion? Like what? And just opening our eyes to begin to be intentional about the power that we have in our
And
choices.
especially inside relationships. I think it
Mm.
is relevant, especially
Yeah.
with the lovers card specifically. Because like what is within will come out and
Yes.
and be that mirror. And so what are you choosing in relationships, in romantic relationships, in friendships, in partner,
Business relationships. Yeah.
with your children, with your parent, like what are you choosing? And the truth is we can't control anyone else except ourselves.
Exactly.
And so sometimes choosing means having a hard conversation
Yeah.
because it doesn't always mean like it's either I'm like in
Like
a
black and
relationship with
white.
this person.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might mean this is something that has been on my heart, but I'm afraid of how it's going to come through. But I really, maybe choosing means just having the courage to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe courage means having the courage to say, I feel really disconnected from my kid right now. I'm just going to make an effort every day to send them love energetically and also tangibly. Like there's
Yeah.
different ways. So what are we choosing? What are you choosing? If there's something, if there's a relationship, which is the mirror, that is showing up for you that feels out of alignment, then what is it that you're choosing or not choosing to do inside of that?
Yeah. And don't forget to have grace for yourself. It's
And
not
grace
a
the Hierophant's grace, because like the Hierophant
exactly
has so much grace for you,
like
and God has so
like
much grace for you, and the
don't be
universe
hard on yourself. Like just,
yourself so
go
much
through the
grace.
process. We
Especially
learn, we learn by walking through the journey. It's okay if you get it wrong. It's part of the journey. Learn from it. Keep
you didn't get
going.
it wrong. You're not
Yeah.
getting it wrong. You're getting it right. Give yourself so much grace, especially if it is a challenging
Yeah.
thing that you have to have courage for.
Yeah.
Then you need to just be like, imagine that light shining down that was on me. That's on you right now as you're
Yeah.
moving through this. So
Yeah.
give yourself a ton of grace, but also the power to choose. Like it's actually such a gift when we can really realize, like, wow, it's empowering to realize how much choice we have in this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. So let's move through the prompts.
So what choices in my life right now ask me to align more deeply with love? Going back to that choice. When do I feel most in harmony with myself and in my relationships? And then the third one is, how do I honor my inner union, the balance of heart and mind, giving and receiving, which we didn't really talk
I
about
love that. Yeah. I
But
love
that's
that.
beautiful. Yes.
I love that. And for the Hierophant, so um Who has been a Hierophant in my life, whether it's a
Mm.
guide, a mentor, or a sacred teacher? What rituals or practices root me in the sacred every day? This one is huge for the Hierophant. It's
That one
huge
did
for the soul.
that very intentional connection.
Yeah. And then the third one is, where am I being invited to pass on wisdom to others? Where am I being invited to pass on wisdom to others? So here I'm going to share this invocation that you can say to yourself before you start journaling, or you can just say to like bring in the wisdom of the Hierophant and the lovers. Um, and you can right now just receive it. You can place your hand on your heart. Hierophant, open my mind to wisdom. Lovers, open my heart to alignment. And through ink and reflection, may truth be revealed.
Mm.
Simple, but it will anchor you into that wisdom alignment and then truth and just yeah. Yes.
And as always, please come share, journey with us, and help us understand a little bit more about how these archetypes show up, for different people in different ways. Like, I think that's one of our favorite things is just showing, sharing, and then receiving from you
Yeah.
all, from the guidance that you're receiving as well, because this is such a collective kind of, energy around all of this. So come and share, and make sure to follow, like, follow, share this podcast with people who you feel like maybe will feel some congruency with it. And
Yes.
thank you all for being here. And we're so excited to continue this journey.
Thank you. So next time we are, what are we? We have the chariot and strength. Ooh. All right. So now we're bringing some movement in. Now that we've stepped into wholeness, now we're going to be talking about some kind of movement and
And anchored. It's interesting.
yes.
It's like the chariot is this for like very movement, and then strength just feels very grounded. So
Yes. Oh, this is going to be good. But
awesome.
yes. So until next time, my loves.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Bye.